So any of the customers can essentially just log on to our website and place an order with us, and we'll come and deliver refills in your own packaging. We're going to move to a concept which I like to call packaging as a service. What essentially it means that this bottle is never going to be owned by Lokesh Sambhwani. It's not going to be owned by the brand Tupperware itself. Right. It's going to be owned by someone who's going to be servicing the entire segment.
Hi friends, welcome to Change Started, to our series Change Trails. Every year about 8 million tons of plastic is dumped into our oceans, and it joins about 150 million which is already lying there. That's huge amount of plastic in our ocean. Because of this plastic, countless animals and birds are killed by consuming it or getting entangled. Unfortunately, we are also part of it, because this plastic pollution includes bottles that we use for our shampoos, detergents, soaps, etc. While you might ask, what is the option? These are the things which we need for our daily needs. Well, today we are going to speak about one such solution that can prevent a lot of plastic going into our oceans. We'll speak with Lokesh Sambhvani, co-founder of Refillable Store, a company that helps refill your daily essentials. Welcome, Lokesh.
Thank you so much, Varun. Thank you so much for having us here. And firstly, Change Star is doing a fantastic job getting people together. So I wish you all the best.
So Lokesh, tell us, what were you doing before you started this venture?
So essentially the way I look at things is that it's a 4-year work in progress. It's like things happened to me for a particular reason, and hence Refillable was launched. So right during our college days itself, me and my co-founders have always been very socially inclined towards stuff. Like back in colleges, we actually started this initiative of adopting villages which were underprivileged at that point of time. Well, they were drought affected, so we built wells over there. We built solar electricity over there, gave them more livelihood options. Actually, like how there's Shark Tank right now, we used to host Shark Tank sessions for their kids at that point of time so that they can diversify their economic resources. Like not necessarily everyone has to go into farming when the yield is not so good. So we used to undertake all of these factors back in college. And I think we were graduating back in 2018, where India was banning single-use plastics for the first time at that time around. It seemed as an interesting problem for all three of us to see that, okay, how can we actually work something out? This is an interesting proposition. So we took 6 months of research, developed, understood what the current market standard was. And we came to a common consensus that at that point of time, there was a lot of greenwashing involved. People were using intentionally or unintentionally, because single-use plastics were banned, particularly in the food and beverage sector, without an alternative primarily. People were like, okay, what can I use? If glass bottles, let's take an example for a food brand. Let's talk about McDonald's, Burger King, or Kevin Tours, or all of these brands, as that matter of fact. How do I do any kind of food delivery? How do I do any kind of beverage delivery? If plastic is banned, what should I do? At that point of time, people started using compostable products, biodegradable products, a lot of products which are not even either of the cases, but were sold in the thesis in this manner without any kind of, say, actual regulations into the picture. We went down to the problem and realized it's the issue lies in composting. Like India does not have the infrastructure of industrial composts. At that point of time, we had 4 industrial composting facilities. I can vouch for it. The entire compostable waste does not land up over there. It is impossible for us to collect anything from that matter of fact. So that used to happen back then. So we personally got a thesis, okay, chalo, compostable is not the solution. Biodegradable, people used to forget this mention that, okay, it is under certain conditions. Only if you get 80 degrees of heat. A lot of practical problems used to be there, so people did not use those resources. So we believe that that's not the right solution. We went back to the model where the milkman model. If in our childhood days, we used to get milk in glass bottles which were supposed to be returned, why can't we opt for reusable stuff? That was the main ideology what we started. So we launched our first startup called Cuppable back in 2019. I think on Jan 12th, we did our first event. So what we used to do back then was collaborate with events and alcohol companies and turned their beverage like alcohol cup. At that point, they had no packaging to serve their alcohol in, which was not deteriorating the customer experience, because if they used to give in paper cups, it used to get extremely soggy and it never ended up in the landfill in the right particular manner itself. So in the first event, we only gave a reusable cups made of plastic only, and saw 75% people reusing it. Reusing it in a particular manner, that let's say that if you take in a glass of beer, you're taking the same cup to take the second glass of beer. Third, 70% of people were actually doing it. And I'm talking about tens of thousands people doing it at scale. So worked fantastically. Second event, we thought that let's improve our service. Let's add a washing part. So we got the feedback that people who like beer will not mix the same cup with the gin or for different kinds of alcohol.
Yeah.
We said, why not add a washing aspect at the site itself? So we used to collect the cups back, wash it with a proper industrial washer, give it back. And more than 83% people liked it. People were ready to reuse any kind of cups. The thesis were becoming. Karte, we started water operation, different product operation. In the first year, in 2019 itself, we worked with over 150 brands, did more than 200 events, clocked revenues of more than 4 crores. And we are 20-year-old back then. We were just trying to solve a particular problem, and we believe that the model exists. We just need to start reusing stuff, and there is value for the event companies. We tied up with like someone like a Book My Show for the event called YouTube. They have think of it in this manner. They do more than 500 events in a year. Okay. Economically, हर event पे आप पकड़ो on an average 1,000 cups भी use होता है. So 5 lakh cups they need overall. My value proposition to them, instead of purchasing those 5 lakh cups, आप मुझसे 50,000 reusable cups लो. It is my responsibility. After every event, I will collect it, wash it, and give it back to you for second event. They saw economic value, not only the impact value, but also an economic value for the brands to adapt, and that is where how it was formed. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic lockdowns, we had to scale down our capable operation of what we've done, and we pivoted in a certain manner that we thought that there's an opportunity in the FMCG segment as well, because we were covering the food and beverage. Refillable was a natural transition for us. So we started a pilot back in the first lockdown itself, where we used to give local brands. Local brands like we tied up with the manufacturer, asked them to fill it in aluminum bottles, and did a pilot with 100 or 120 odd people. Dekho, will you actually return the aluminum bottle at the end of the cycle? I'll give you a new one, like a swap and go mechanism. Once you're done using it, you let us know and we'll give you the. So that's how it started essentially. Karte, we got like a brilliant response. And इसमें भी हम लोग का 65% up के ऊपर people were actually returning it back. We thought it's a great number. Then we came with the thesis that why not actually go and refill at their doorstep? Why to even have the logistics challenge of collecting a glass bottle back, collecting an aluminum bottle back, and why not directly go and refill? People are concerned with the product, not the packaging itself. Then we created the refill truck. So May 2021, we launched a refill truck, and now the entire journey is a 4-year work in progress. That's how I like to term it. It's not a success that मैंने एक साल पहले चालू किया और मुझे इतना मिल गया. No, it's not about that. It's about that I got to where I am because of the various different steps and things what we tried out and understood what works, what does not work, and that's why we are at the stage right now.
Fantastic story, Lokesh. I mean, amazing. And because you guys were able to scale one particular initiative, which is kind of related, you are able to do this refillable store, right? So fantastic.
Yes.
But for the audience, can you explain what is the process of refillable store? How does it work?
So essentially, what we are conveying to people is the new way of consumption. Okay. Think about it in a manner that you procure from your local kirana store, you procure from supermarkets, you procure from D-marts or any quick delivery service applications at this point in time, your Zeptos, your Blinkit, all of these guys. One thing what remains constant is the plastic packaging. Okay. We question our customers, what if we can come to your doorstep and refill in your existing packaging itself? That's the thesis the entire company is formed in. So any of the customers can essentially just go log on to our website and place an order with us, and we'll come and deliver refills in your own packaging. Our refill truck will come up to your doorstep. So refill truck is nothing but a machine retrofitted onto a truck, like a vending machine, which goes from doorstep to doorstep and refills in your own bottles itself. That's the process what we started on with doing. So we started out with cleaning detergents. We've expanded our portfolio to now rices, pulses, spices, all of that, getting the entire grocery chain into the picture. And the way we look at things is that this is a moving option. So for all the hyper local companies, this is the option what we're trying to do. If you want to go to your kirana store, we will have a local, we will have a setup, refill setup over there as well. If you want to go to your supermarket, we will have an option over there itself. You have to build the entire refill infrastructure to make it very convenient for the customers, and that's what exactly what we're doing currently.
Awesome, wonderful, Lokesh. So this is like a movable zero waste store, right? So in
Yes.
a very small, if we have to describe it as a sub-rig. So fantastic. So where do you got that inspiration from? What was that problem? I mean, obviously there is a big problem which we all know, but this is a unique step to solve the problem, right? So did you got any inspiration from anywhere? How did you go about structuring this whole thing?
So, as I said, our biggest inspiration was Cuppable itself. Because if we could do it in an alcohol beverage market, we thought that we can definitely do it in the FMCG market. Of course, the markets are entirely different, but the thesis remains the same. So that was number one. Number two, the government since 2018 has been very proactively looking at alternatives to plastic packaging. So looking at the EPR laws, also how they've transitioned, and right now what the laws they've come out with from 2025 to 2030 also, they're asking brands to start reusing their packaging. So the legislation is also coming into the picture. It's taking time, it is slow, but it's coming into the picture. Additionally, the global trends. So all of the FMCG brands, like right from Unilever's, the Reckitt Benckiser's, the Nivea's, the Godrej, all of these guys have put in a pledge that by 2025, they're going to be plastic neutral. They're going to adopt to refillable / reusable packaging. So the market trend, if not in India, but globally is moving into this particular directions. And apart from that, we've always seen these, like back in 2019 itself, there was this brand called Loop who had launched at World Economic Forum a service or like reverse logistics for any of your home care essentials. So that's something what we derived an inspiration from. There's this company in Chile also was working on a mobile refills aspect. We derived inspiration from them. So we spoke to all of these guys and made a custom-based solution for India at this point of time. No, well, like it's not one size fits all. It's about building that infrastructure to make the solution work.
Yeah, and why I was asking, because maybe somebody can take inspiration from you, and because this problem needs massive scale, right? And I'm sure one company will not be able to do it, so we need a lot of companies to solve this problem, and I'm sure you will play a huge part in that. So Lokesh, I mean, you touched upon the brands, right? So a lot of consumer will have their own specific requirements, their own specific brands in mind while going for refill. So I am only interested in surf detergent, or I am only interested in Vim detergent. So how do you solve that? And or have you collaborated with everybody which is there?
So no, to be honest, with the bigger FMCG brands, we signed NDAs with like documents with most agreements with most of the brands at this point of time. We're yet to officially launch pilots with these guys, be it Unilever, be it Reckitt Benckiser, be it P&G, all of these brands. So because this is a very active space, what they're looking to research and develop globally as well. That's something going on. But for our current crop of customers, we have collaborated with 90% of the organic brands. So the likes of your Better Home, the likes of your Herbal Strategy, Care by Kamiko, Biko, all of these brands we already have onto our particular platform. And for the price sensitive customers, we also have this brand called Buzil Rosari, which has been it's a public listed company. They have been in the business for the past 30 odd years, and they are giving prices at something less than 100 rupees a liter as well. So the prices are very, very competitive onto our website. And the thesis is that we are cheaper than your local kirana store or MRP because we save up on the packaging cost. You no longer need to purchase the bottle. The bottle kitna bhi ho, 10 rupees, 12 rupees, 15 rupees. You no longer need to pay for that. You're actually getting at a discounted rate inherently itself. So that's how we positioned ourselves.
Awesome. So, I mean, you are absolutely right. I mean, a lot of consumer are very price conscious, especially in this category. So you need to make sure that price is either comparable or lower than whatever is there in the market. Otherwise, I mean, there will not be any motivation apart from the environmental reasons, right? So good that you have done that. So how is the customer reaction? What is the growth? What is the number which we are looking at in new terms?
So, to be honest, the numbers are pretty promising. We started off with having no foundation of sorts in the B2C segment. As I mentioned, like Capable was entirely B2B. So B2C was entirely new to us. We started off with getting our first customer, then 100, then reaching out to 500, 600 customers in 6 months to now covering a base of more than 2,500 odd households in a year two itself. Now expanding to different cities as well. So the target what we've kept for ourselves by the end of the year is to have 10,000 odd customers. So the growth has been month on month consistently for 20-25%, if I could say so. That's the organic growth. We've not even spent one single rupee on any kind of paid marketing at this point of time, because the consumers are actually demanding our service at this point of time. They see value in what we're delivering currently.
So is it like that you deliver your service based on the order which you receive? Or is it like you visit a place, visit a colony or visit a community and then set up your place and deliver the services?
So both actually, it depends. So let's say what we do currently as a refill trucks, right? Refill trucks essentially goes to the high density areas like a housing society which has 300, 400 flats, a vegetable market and an organic market. It goes to all of those things. Let's say that if you stay away certain kilometers away from a place, the truck will not come only to deliver your particular order. We've started with the refillable light model where we do deliveries on the bike as well. So anywhere across the city, if you want to place an order, we'll deliver it within 48 hours. That's a guarantee from our side. What we do is that, again, the swap and go model, what I was mentioning at the start, that we give you a bottle, we collect your old bottle back. That's something what we do with our bikes on ground currently.
So how many product categories you are into, Lokesh?
So we are into cleaning detergents primarily. This month right now we are piloting with groceries like your dals, your pulses, spices, rices, salts, sugars, all of those categories we are piloting at the moment. And if the pilot is successful by the end of the month, we launch it for the entire public in Mumbai, like from next month onwards.
So, so for this, I mean, your one of your biggest stakeholder is also the businesses out there. So how hard or easy is it for you to convince them to adopt your model, which is very unique and innovative, right?
So we've done this in a very tactful manner. We reach out to people only who we feel are in the organic space. So if I go to a local manufacturer who is primarily based out of chemicals, he's less likely to understand what I'm trying to do. Instead of me going to an entirely natural and a plant-based brand who essentially is positioning their brand as the solution to all the chemical and toxins in itself. So they are more likely to say yes to us. So similarly, we are tying up with an organic store who is entirely vegan, who's entirely natural based, and it's like farm to fresh concept. Their name is Sharan Organics, and we've partnered with them to get our grocery model kicking.
Great. So, what are the challenges which you see in this space, and how are you planning to solve them?
So it's a challenge of convenience, right? So in today's world, the mission of Refillable essentially is to make sustainability affordable, accessible, and convenient. If I have to win the Indian market, I have to cover these 3 points. I cannot cover any one of them. Okay. In today's world, we are so used to ordering everything on Zomato, Swiggy, or even through Zepto and Blinkit. Like it comes to our doorstep in 10 minutes. Why should I wait for 48 hours in the first place? Where am I going with it? That's the convenience bit. Okay. Accessibility comes into the picture that, hey, I saw this at a supermarket. I saw this at my Kirana store. Oh, you're publishing online. Oh, you're at my society also. If I'm accessible all around, people would naturally get this thing of FOMO, or better, I get higher chances, higher probability of them experiencing into the entire bandwagon itself. So that's why accessibility is important. The more you're accessible to people, the more likely they will purchase from you. And one of the biggest important factors comes in the affordability segment. We could have started with the niche that, hey, we are only targeting the organic customers and the basket size needs to be more than 600, 700 rupees. But we've realized the problem essentially lies in the mass population. The so-called organic ones are essentially anyway quite conscious. You'd rather solve a bigger problem. So it's not like we're solving a problem for the mass population itself. Yes, again, we're targeting only the conscious customers for the start. But the way we think is we think for the mass. We think if this model is actually scalable, how much impact will the model create in the longer run? That's the thesis behind the entire process itself.
I mean, I also have the same opinion. I mean, it is not about creating awareness that yes, there is a solution like this which exists and which can actually make a difference. Not only, I mean, in terms of the price and financially, but also in terms of environment. And I believe, I mean, as you guys are going door to door and meeting customers, I think that bit of education or that bit of like awareness should be created for the consumer that you are making a difference to the planet. So it is not just the economic benefit which you are getting, but you are making a difference to the environment. I think you guys should spread that message and percolate that message to the society as well, which would be huge, right? So awesome. So final few questions, Lokesh. So what are the plans for the future? So currently, I believe you are in Bangalore and Mumbai. So how do you see yourself in next couple of years or so?
So, talking about from a short-term perspective,
Short
by
term,
the end
both.
of the month,
Short term, long term, both.
yes, sure. So, from a short-term angle, we'll be launching in Pune and Surat by the end of this month itself. And by the end of the year, which is the midterm, I would say, we'll be there in additional 10 cities as well. We're working with a lot of governments in different areas, be it Andhra Pradesh, be it Telangana, be it UP, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, to get the refills available to all of these segments as well. From a longer perspective, from where we see the industry grow, not only us. I'm not talking about only refill, but I'm talking about the entire industry. Is that we're going to move to a concept which I like to call packaging as a service. What essentially it means that this bottle is never going to be owned by Lokesh Sambhwani. It's not going to be owned by the brand Tupperware itself. Right. It's going to be owned by someone who's going to be servicing the entire segment. So it's my responsibility to get it back from you, and it is my responsibility to give it to hypothetically the like of Bisleri. I charge them a rent.
Right.
So I think we're going to be unlocking this model not only for the sachet market, not only for the bottle market, but the entire packaging market itself. Right. So it's no longer going to be a normal purchase and sale transaction, but as a service based. So each of the packaging items are going to be designed in a manner where it can be reused. The longevity will be accounted for. The packaging cost at the start might be a bit higher, but the rent, if you check from an impact analysis and the economic analysis fair point, it's going to be much cheaper in the longer run. And that's something which I feel with the right legislation, with the right design, we'll be able to achieve in the next few years itself. Like talking about it, the Indian government has put up a legislation of 20% of the rigid packaging needs to be reused for the players, for anyone who manufactures, for any brand out there. And that's a huge number. If I am someone like a Unilever who's selling crores of material every single day, 20% is literally a lot of resources what they need to start thinking about. So the legislation in the picture, I just believe that in the future, in the longer run, we need to make this model more and more convenient to reach out to the certain far off areas of Mumbai itself to each and every village. Then only this model is going to be essentially scalable. But yeah, that's the way I look at the entire industry moving and us playing a maybe a small slash big role to getting it done.
Awesome. So currently, if I may ask, is it like you are completely owning the entire logistics and supply chain, or you have, outsourced it, or given it as a franchisee to other place?
So in Bombay, it's essentially entirely us.
Okay.
But in the entire other places, we like to collaborate and partner. So not franchisee, I would say, but partnerships with the right amount, right people who essentially have a good network. Let's say that talking about in Bangalore, we've partnered with this company called Hasiru Dala, and they've been fantastic. They are a waste management company existing for the past 5 years, and the not-for-profit has been existing for the past 11 years itself. They help the waste pickers essentially earn a better livelihood. So they currently the partnership with them is that they service more than 550 housing societies every single day, which have more than 2 to 3 lakh households. They go and collect their dry waste, wet waste. They already have the network. Why not add a particular service in partnership with them? So we partnered with them. Similarly, in Pune, we are partnering with this organization called Swatch, servicing 8 lakh households every single day. Beautiful partnership. Surat, someone with like a project Surat. So someone who is keen on getting us into their particular city, who has a network, I think the model is financially enough for them to suffice as well. So we're looking for a micro entrepreneurship model. That's how we like to term it as.
And it makes sense as well, right? Because because the concept needs to be popularized and concept needs to scale. It doesn't matter whether you own it or somebody else is doing it. So is it like revenue sharing, or you like give it for a fixed price?
So it differs from brand to brand, the kind of financial capacity each brand particular has, the kind of involvement and role designation each brand wants to put in. If someone wants to come on from a network per se, the deal will be positioned in a different manner. If someone wants to run the entire operations on ground, the financials differ at that point of time. So on an average basis, we don't charge any commission to a particular brand itself. It's just about getting the network out there. But the kind of financial, like who will be putting the truck, who will be putting the machines, all of those play a very vital part in understanding what commission is going to be charged.
Cool. So are you somebody looking for funding, or you are already funded, and
so
or you want to be bootstrapped?
We were bootstrapped up till 2 months ago.
Okay.
We recently closed a pre-seed round of $250,000 roughly from US-based investors itself. Apart from that, we've gotten a few government grants as well to help us keep afloat all this while. But as people say, you never say no say no to money. So I'm happy to partner with anyone who is willing, primarily not for the money angle, but is willing to see the merit in the impact what we're trying to create and who would help us scale even further. So that's something what we're looking at.
Absolutely. And you need capital, right? I mean, though it might look that you are just serving the customer and refilling the bottle, but you need a lot of capital to run this business, and especially the machines, the vending machines and the vehicles, which would need lot of money. So also a question, like, are these electric vehicles you are currently running, or not conventional vehicles?
So our bikes are entirely electric,
Right.
but our trucks, because of the payload, the electric vehicles cannot take more than 500, 600 kgs. That's why we moved to CNG. We don't use any kind of petroleum usage at this point of time. But apart from that, the way to add on to point, I'm glad that you brought up the EV point. You mentioned about heavy capex, right? Why are EVs so accessible at this point of time? Because we invested in building the infrastructure 5, 7 years ago. That's something exactly what we're doing currently. We are building the infrastructure for the model to thrive in the next 3 to 5 years. We are in the exact same position. But buying an EV vehicle would not make sense in 2017 when there were no electric charging points. But today it makes sense because every second kilometer you have a charging point and you can do it. It is so accessible. That's exactly the energy what I'd like to play for the refill and reuse market as well. Once we build the infrastructure, there will be no going back for people, because why would a brand voluntarily want to put in more resources, pay more for the packaging itself? Why would a customer want to procure stuff in packaging when it is not of any use for them? So essentially, that's the kind of timeline where we are at.
Awesome. All the best to you and your team, Lokesh, to make it reach higher and higher. So my final couple of questions: what was the idea behind the name Refillable? I mean, it's pretty obvious, but yeah, was there any thought process behind this name?
So the thought process was that the people should understand what we're trying to do. It should be very direct. So the name should essentially make the people understand that, okay, look, karte kya hai at this point of time. So that's why we went with Refillable itself. Like our previous brand also, it's cuppable.
Yeah.
What do you do? Something with cups.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Be very direct with the customers. I don't want to give a pseudo name and say that, oh, this is my entire story. Of course, the story part is very much important, but I want to be as direct to the customers as possible. And that's the thesis what we have. We don't do enough. Like, it's no nonsense talk. Direct straight to the point, and that this is exactly what we're trying to do currently.
So you guys want to again go back to Cuppable, or Cuppable is now like a story which is like.
Oh, no. Cuppable is still active, to be honest. It's never died down. It was just scaled down to a certain level because of the pandemic.
Right.
At this point of time, also, roughly we service more than 15 to 20 clients on a monthly basis, regardless. That's a separate team which has been handling that. So we've diversified, and Refillable and Cuppable are two different separate entities and organizations itself, but working towards the same goal of eliminating plastic in their different industries.
Awesome. So my final question, Lokesh, what is your personal connection with nature and environment? Just your.
So, to be honest, I wasn't very environmentally conscious before I began my journey. I'll be very open about that. That it's not that on day one you realize, hey, I'm passionate about this and I really want to pursue this. It's a series of consequences which lead you to where we are at. So with the nature, I'm still being sensitized and I'm still understanding how the entire evolution works. Okay, how does my actual plastic uh chemical react with the water body, which essentially affects our downfall in Antarctica and Arctic. Of course, everyone knows about global warming in the widest and the most broadest terms. But I want to narrow it down, and I'm currently understanding from a very scientific point of view that how each system gets affected. About how, if I choose to refill today, will I not be facing the heat wave in 2024? So that's something what I'm really excited to understand, and that's the impact I'm learning at this point. I wouldn't say that I've mastered it, but I'm very much focused on at this point of time. So that's something what really drives me, that the kind of impact what you do today is actually going to create a better world tomorrow. That's something what I strongly believe in, and that's got me connected to the roots of it. Like we keep undertaking these activities of doing beach cleanups on every Saturday. Small steps of whoever I make the speak to that when you're going to buy paneer example, go and take your own container. You don't need to actually take that polyethylene bag coming from them, right? Like small activities keep on going on, and we keep spreading awareness through schools and all of these places. But this is something what drives me overall.
All of us are trying to learn. I mean, I think nobody is an expert out there who knows everything about the intricacies, because nature itself is such a complicated piece and so many things are interlinked. I don't think it's humanly possible for all of us to know or understand completely. But it is all the small little steps which each one of us take can make a huge difference to the overall health of the planet. So wonderful, Lokesh. Wonderful, Lokesh. I mean, wonderful story, wonderful journey which you have covered thus far, and I'm sure you will do great in coming future. So all the best, and thanks for this conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, all the best to you as well. Hopefully, our paths will collide again in the future, and we'll definitely work something out together.
Thank you.